Hi, Mark Robertson back with you, talking to you about the latest chapter in my book, Carrying Lawn Chairs, Youth Sports, and Other Parental Mindsets. And as you can tell by the title, it's about parents and kids involved in organized youth sports and how I think there are many problems with that these days. And also, in the second part of the book, I talk about other things related to education and all sorts of other things related to the parent child dynamic. But today, the title of my chapter is called Authentic Play. And if I had to pick one chapter that it was the main theme of my book, it is this one on authentic play and how it is lacking in most kids these days. It's something that they need, but they're not getting. And some parents even discourage it. They think it causes them, to be lazy or not to be focused on programming themselves for a successful future and all these other nonsensical things. But what's a child's day like? They go to school all day. Half of them don't want to be there. None of them hardly would really like to be there. There's a few that like school, and that doesn't mean they don't want to be educated. But the school scene is not meant for a lot of people. There's other ways they can learn. They can be taught. Homeschooling, for example, is much better. But they go to school all day. They're programmed with all sorts of, in many cases, indoctrination. They're not taught grammar or English or proper American history. It's all a bunch of stuff, politically correct things. And then they get home and they're all stressed out, and their parents are often working still, so they go into their video games or MTV or who knows what else. Not much authentic play. But kids need authentic play. They've needed it 500 years ago. They need it today. It's they gain self-knowledge. They better adapt to life by having authentic play. They learn who they are, and they have a natural desire for it and know how to do it. You see a baby in a crib born, they're looking all around at all the colors up there, moving around, smiling. They're playing right at that age. They're just being. That's who they are, and that's who kids are. And a lot of this is taught out of them. They're told, well, you can't act like a child. That's not the way to be. You got to grow up. You got to be a grown up when you're 5 years old. And, we got to go to get you in organized sports because you got to learn how to hit a T-ball off a tee so you can be a high school star, a college star, or in the pros making millions of dollars. At age 5, we got to work on this. And no, they don't want to be playing T-ball. That kids don't want to play T-ball. That's an adult invention, and it's crazy, actually. The whole theme of my book is kids shouldn't be involved in organized sports before the age of 10, if you ask me, and maybe even 12. And there's so much more they can do if they like sports. They can go down the street, play at the playground or in the park or in their yard if they want to play a pickup game of baseball, shoot baskets, play football. And they learn about themselves. They're out in the open air. They don't have a bunch of adults in the stands yelling at them, telling them what to do and how they're not doing things right according to these adults. And so it's, like I say, kids need authentic play. They have a natural desire for it. They have a natural desire to play, to create, to pretend, see all the wonder of the world. And that is squashed often by well-meaning adults, and they put these kids into organized sports or other things. And I'm not saying all organized things are not good. I mean, the scouts, things like that, and even organized sports at an older age, 10, 12, or in their teens. I don't have a major problem with that. There are problems with it, but it's okay to be involved in that. And many look back on those days rewarding. Very few, if any, look back on their T-ball days and saying, oh, I remember my great T-ball days. I had so much fun, learned so much about life. T-ball, putting kids in sports at age 3, 4, 5, 6, anything under 10 to me is crazy. It's at the very least unnecessary. It's harmful. It's all about the adults. It's not about the kids. And I am against organized sports. I've worked in it for a number of years. I've seen so many crazy things. I've read about crazy things about parents doing. And my answer is not to change the sports. It's to not have kids involved in organized sports, like I say, before at least age 10. And organized sports disrupt the natural desire for play. I mean, you got these kids on these fields. I mentioned T-ball again. They're all out there standing around. They don't know why they're there. They know their parents want them to be there, so this must be where they should be. They're not having fun. So then they think, well, there must be something wrong with me because I'm not having a good time, but this is where my parents want me to be, so I must be wrong. I can't be my natural self, my authentic self. I can't go out and just play and have a good time playing a pickup game in the backyard or something like that. I got to be in a uniform at a field with screaming parents in the stands telling me to run at age 5 to first base, to use 2 hands, to swing level, to throw it, to slide, to win the game. They start screaming. It's all wonderful. And it actually confuses the child. But like I said earlier, you have some parents who think authentic play, they not only don't think about it, they think it's harmful. They think it's stupid. They think it's a waste of time. They think kids just messing around on themselves, they could be much more productive than doing this rather than in the backyard having a good time, learning about the world, learning about themselves. They got to be all involved. We got to get them here or there. They got to go to this organized event, this organized sport, this organized activity. And like I say, I'm not totally against organized activities, even at a younger age. But organized youth sports, I am before age 10. But other things they can do, Cub Scouts, things like that, that's fine if you don't take it too far. But they do still need time for organized play. Like I said, authentic play is the work of children. And they know how to do it. They want to do it. They are in their natural state when they are doing it. And parents seem to want to get into the way of that, often well-meaning parents, nearly always well-meaning parents, but they are causing more harm than good, and not much good at all, and almost total harm. Let them play naturally. That doesn't mean they can't have rules. That doesn't mean there are not boundaries. They cannot run out all hours of the day and night playing free and running around and jumping here and there. But they know about boundaries too. It's a natural thing. They'll go out in the backyard, they'll play. They know they got to be here at a certain time to have dinner or do this, and but they can still play within those parameters and have natural play. So it's about common sense, actually, and it's about parents asking, what is this really all about? Why am I so obsessed about getting my 3-year-old into teenagering or to cheerleading or some sort of dance or something like that? What is that really all about? What am I thinking? It's like automatic pilot. What's really going on here? And that's what I just ask parents to do on everything. What is really going on? Is this about me, the parent, or am I doing this really because I think it'd be good for my child? Now, I might use that as an excuse. I say that I'm doing this for the good of the child when it's deep down really about the self-esteem of the parent, wanting their kids to do well in something to make the parent look good. Focus on the child. Urge natural play. Allow time for natural play. Be aware of what they're doing. Video games are here to stay. They're not going anywhere, but limit that to have common sense. Tell them what they can watch and not watch. I'm definitely not against rules or even telling kids how to live their life or teaching them properly how to live. That's a necessary thing. That's not done. It's like everything's the opposite. They want everything organized and organized sports and activities, but in the areas that many parents are supposed to be very specific and detailed and putting up parameters, they don't do. So it's the world upside down in many cases. And then, of course, these days, there's not much emphasis on faith or religion in parents. That kind of gets in the way of what their ultimate goals are as well. But kids involved in that and by parents have been proven to. Matter of fact, a recent study just came out by Harvard of all places, saying that kids involved in religion and church growing up are much more stable mentally, spiritually, and in all sorts of other ways than those who do not have a spiritual religious foundation growing up. And I'm talking about a very specific foundation of a church to go to. I'm not just saying, well, they're spiritual. But it's common sense though. The scene in these days in these schools, you can't teach right and wrong. Every little child starting out is a wonder of God, but they get off the beaten path. And my chapter today is authentic play. I think one of the reasons they do get off that path is there is a lack of authentic play and a lack of understanding by parents that this is very important. It's other than food and shelter and clothing, it's right there. It's a need, and they have to. Authentic play is a need for all children, and that's one of the main themes of my book, if not the major theme. And it's these days, so much is in the way of authentic play. Organized youth sports is one of the major things that gets in the way of authentic play. There are many others, but right now, our talk today is on organized youth sports and how that disrupts the natural desire for kids to play authentically. and that is not good. I'm Mark Robertson. We'll see you next time with our next chapter, and we will talk to you soon. Take care.